Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gator Truth. On this episode, we're going to take a look forward to this Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Tennessee coming to the Swamp. The last time this rivalry game is played for a few years. It's going to be a interesting time for sure. Tennessee having not won in the Swamp for 22 years. Wow. And also back-to-back rivalry games in the Swamp against Tennessee and Florida State for the first time since 2001. A very big rarity. Of course, 9/11 caused that to happen. This time it is a scheduling thing. One interesting note is Ernest Graham was on that 2001 team, played against FSU, did not play against Tennessee. That's all I'll say about that. But that situation kind of helped Steve Spurrier out the door. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can look it up. With that said, his son now, Miles Graham, gets to take on the Vols and the Seminoles in back-to-back weeks in the Swamp. So very, very interesting. Of course, this team is almost the antithesis of that 2001 team. That 2001 team, one of the best offensive teams in school history, and definitely was looking towards possibly playing for a national title, where this year you've got a 3-7 team, hopefully, or hoping they can salvage maybe a 5-7 season, send the seniors out with two big rivalry victories. All sorts of interesting storylines as well. You've got Caleb Banks coming back to play on the defense. You've got, Tennessee playing for what they hope is a decent end to their season. And of course, we'll talk about FSU next week, who might be playing for bowl eligibility. So it really is fun. I will say this is being recorded before my appearance on the Vol Fanatic show. So if you have seen some of that before you come and listen to this, definitely some things may be the same. Some things may be different. And heck, maybe you're listening to this and you didn't see my live appearance on Vol Fanatic show. Check that out on YouTube. Lots of great guys. Of course, we've had Skylar on before. We've had Michael on before. They are Vols, but again, pretty good guys. I love talking to them. And so with that said, let's go ahead, let's get into it. Why? Because, well, I've got to get this recorded and go ahead and hit that spot with them a little bit later. Let's start off like we always do, talking about the offense for the Gators and the Gators taking on the Volunteers defense. Usually we all know what I put as number one, and that is run the ball. But that is not going to be my number one this time. I know some people are probably like, why? Why is it not number one? Well, because Tennessee is bad against the pass. Like, not even average, not even okay, not even passable. Bad. Tennessee is 115th in the nation against the pass. And their defense is 86 overall in the nation. This is not a good Tennessee defense, which is funny. If we go back to the preseason, I have Skylar on. We talk about how the Vols will do, and we talked about how the Vols offense, 9 new starters, 2 returners. Defense returns 9 starters and only 2 new guys. And somehow, and some of it's just injuries in the secondary, what we thought would be the strength of the Vols, their defense, is not at all where their defense or where their offense actually just kept on clicking. But yes, we've got to find that passing game. We saw a pretty good passing game at times last week at Ole Miss. We saw it, against Georgia. Didn't really see it too much against Kentucky. But with that said, if there's ever a defense you can take advantage of, it's probably this defense. And you've got the advantage of you're at home, so you don't have to worry about crowd noise. You don't have to worry about just a lot of the nonsense you could worry about on the road. You've also got the crowd to give you momentum. You hit that big play, crowd gets into it, help really spark it. I always put in here, moving to key two, offensive line, tight end, improved blocking, and talking about how blocking has been a mixed bag this season. Well, last week, I talked about we didn't give up as many sacks or whatever as we should have, and I gave it, a passable grade for the offensive line, tight end blocking. It does need to be better. It does need to improve, because last week some of DJ's problems were he was pressured, or Ball, we talked about, had many runs that didn't go for too far. We didn't have tackles for loss, but we didn't exactly give them room to work with. Well, that's got to be better this week against this Tennessee defense that they're high against the run, but they've given up several 100+ rushers, which of course run the ball, third key. I know for sure Arkansas's running back, Bothwell for Mississippi State, both got over 100 yards. This is a defense that can do it. Now, I will say this, Tennessee getting ahead in some of their games definitely made an impact as far as, running game, because if you're well ahead, you're not going to be running the ball or as much, or if you're well behind, like when they got ahead of Syracuse or East Tennessee State, who they beat 72-17, or some of these other teams, New Mexico State, who they played last week. They're probably not going to be running the ball as much because they're behind. They're going to throw the ball more, and by doing so, it helps out. Now, I'm not saying that their defense is not good against the run, but again, there is some factor like that, and also things like last week held New Mexico State to 27 yards rushing. They did have negative 30 yards in rushing, and I do believe at least 27 of those yards were against quarterbacks and were sacks for New Mexico State. And so, I mean, that's really what we got to do. We got to find that passing game, be consistent. I know VB3 may or may not play. I believe he is questionable on the Wednesday night injury report. But if he can play at home, that's going to be big. And so definitely need to get that passing game going. Need to see a little bit more from Hanson and Livingston, as we are still missing, the Wilsons. And we're going to need to see more from Aiden Mizell. JMS needs to continue to step up, which he did. I mean, he had a few big plays at Ole Miss, but now you come home, you don't have the crowd noise. Not that Ole Miss was overwhelming crowd noise or Kentucky was overwhelming crowd noise, but you come home to a lot more encouragement, a lot better atmosphere, and then also a much worse defense than Kentucky, than Ole Miss. And so definitely things are looking up in that regard to help out this offense. But that's what you need to do. You got to find that passing game. And then to do that, you need the improved blocking. With the improved blocking, you can run the ball. And I think this is a chance for Jaden Baugh to get over 100 yards. Right now, I think he has to average 91 yards a game to get to be a 1,000-yard rusher this year. If you're going to get there, you started this game with Jaden Baugh. Give him his 20 carries if you need to. I would love to see us throw it all over on a bad Tennessee pass defense, but I'd be happy with just enough to keep them honest and let Jaden Baugh do plenty of work. Moving to the defense. as always, I just need to see solid defense all around. And part of that is Tennessee. We talked about earlier. Tennessee, we thought, hey, their quarterback missed spring. He transferred in after the spring. We talked about 9 new starters. Well, Josh Heupel has them going, to be honest. They are number 2 in total offense in the nation. And funny enough, when I looked it up, I don't know whether it was passing offense or whether it was offensive total, but Florida faces, I think, 4 of the top 10 or something like that. Ole Miss, USF, I believe, is on there. And I think there's one more. I know Georgia is around 33. But anyways, this is an offense that can score and can score a lot on you. I do think that Caleb Banks coming back will be massive for that defensive tackle position. However, losing Mekhi Burrow, who is listed as out on that Wednesday injury sheet, that doesn't help. So instead of having an extra body to rotate, now you're just going to have a guy who's probably a little bit rusty, but definitely motivated to get out there. Caleb Banks could have just sat out the rest of the season. No one would have blamed him. The fact that he's thinking of coming back to play these last 2 rivalry games is just massive. I got to give him all the credit in the world. And then along with solid D is the discipline D. It's kind of the same thing. But Heupel will test your fundamentals. He will try and find a busted coverage. He will try some misdirection. And he will try to hurry up. And of course, we saw USF, we talked about it, and other games where the Gators could not get ready on defense. And if you can't get ready on a hurry up, other teams are going to take advantage. So, again, this is a situation you got to be fundamentally sound. You've got to communicate pre-play. You've got to essentially do everything you can, as disciplined as you can, maintain your run gaps, maintain the edge if you're on the edge. Of course, George Gums also listed on that out in the injury report, which is unfortunate. But hopefully that leads us to see continuing stuff from Woods, who has looked good as a freshman, has made a decent impact, and maybe we see more. You know, it wasn't that long ago. Well, it was that long ago. 26 years ago. Alex Brown, 1999. He was a freshman, and Tennessee coming into the swamp after beating Florida in 1998. Alex Brown, as a freshman, gets like 4 sacks that night, gets an interception. Really just a dominant game. And wouldn't it be nice if Woods came in and had that kind of night? And I think it's possible. And by the way, I said that kind of night, 1999, that was a night game in the swamp. And I remember so much about that game and could go on and on about my experience with it and just the fun that I had and memories to go with it. But point is, wouldn't it be fun if we saw one of our, freshman guys come in, especially with the injury to George Gums, and seeing Jaden Woods put up numbers. Maybe Tyreek Sapp puts up numbers as well. Cameron James, leads the team in sacks. This is an opportunity for guys to come in, show up, show out, and I'd love to see it, especially because you need the solid pass defense. And with Caleb Banks potentially causing havoc in the middle, far and away our best defensive tackle. Whether he's rusty or not, we'll see. That can give you time for your outside edge guys to come in and get to the quarterback. We've seen, defensive backs come in and get sacks last week. Hayward got a sack. So definitely get that pressure on Aguilar. Crowd noise will be elite for this game. I have a feeling because you want to send this team out the right way. And if you get that elite crowd noise behind this team, really push them. And we see that, good stuff in the center of the line, led by Banks and his veteran leadership. And those edges are able to get Aguilar uncomfortable. This is a very, very beatable Tennessee team, despite the number 3 passing offense. I mean, again, talking about Tennessee, this is a team that they are 7-3. We're 3-7. They're 7-3. I can see people saying, why do you have reason to think that we can beat Tennessee? Well, Syracuse gave them a run for a little bit. They did at home week 3, should have beat Georgia, missed a field goal. I understand that. But also, it took them overtime to beat Mississippi State. And, of course, Georgia. But it took them overtime to beat Mississippi State, who played us just as well as they played Tennessee. And Tennessee was on the road there. Florida is a lot crazier environment than Starkville. They played Arkansas. Arkansas, again, 3-point game. Kentucky, outside of us, that's the most points that Kentucky has scored this year against an FBS opponent when they scored 34. Now, granted, Kentucky allowed 56. Then they played Oklahoma, lost by 6. And I don't know if you've got a chance to watch in that game. They threw for 400 yards, but they also threw plenty of picks and plenty of opportunities. And we have guys, especially as we see Alfonso Allen getting action again against Ole Miss, as we see guys like Hayward get more play and Cormani McClain gets more experience and Devin Moore staying healthy. We've got guys that can make that pick if you just get that pressure. So even though they have a top offense, top pass offense, I do think that if you just play solid, disciplined defense, pass defense, you can do enough to slow them down. This offense has made mistakes and crucial mistakes, but doing it on the road in the swamp is something that can clearly change a game. And we've seen that every year in the Billy Napier era, including Tennessee 2023, we pull off games we shouldn't. And some could say, well, that was Texas this year. Doesn't mean it can't be Tennessee. And with a rivalry game, anything could happen. And then finally, things I want to see from the team, it's really just the same stuff that you always hear me say. Few penalties, no special teams flags, no dumb penalties. I don't want to see someone, spitting on the other team, giving them a chance to line up for a last-second field goal. Last week I said you got to start strong to get the crowd out of the game. This week I say start strong to get the crowd into the game. If the swamp gets into this game, it's going to be hard for Tennessee. There's going to be the pressure of the swamp. There's going to be the pressure of thinking it's been 22 years since we've won here. There's going to be the pressure of Florida's got nothing to lose and would like nothing more than to just kick us one more time. And, and then finally a big special teams play. I would love to see either a block punt like we got against Texas or a big return, which again, big returns we saw big returns in several games this season, making difference, leading to scoring opportunities for sure. And so with that said, I know it's easy to say they're 7-3, we're 3-7. Put a fork in it, we're done. Florida's has not played a home game, has not been at home in a number of weeks, over a month, since October 18th. Well, now they're home. And you've got Gator fans who have been waiting to go. I'm sure there are a lot of people that bought the tickets to this game months ago, hoping it'd be a monumental matchup. Well, it's still the ABC primetime 7:30 game. Like, it's the game of the week. For better or worse, it's the game of the week on ABC because it's a rivalry game and because it's a week where there's not much going on. This is the Swamp. This is Tennessee. Crazy things happen. If I had to pick a score, which I'll do, I think we see Florida score the most points that they've scored against a Power 5 school this year. And right now, I think, our most points is the 29 points we scored against Texas. We have not faced a defense this bad in the Power 5. And getting home, getting that energy after being gone so long. First game post Billy Napier at home. So you don't even have the crowd kind of booing and hesitating like they did before. I'm going to say we score the most points that we have all season. And that's not saying we go and score 50. It just means we score 31. And as far as Tennessee, we'll go ahead, we'll say 30. We'll score 4 touchdowns and a field goal, and they'll score 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and Florida makes up for a lot of bad this season. 31-30 with the win over the Vols. And with that said, show up, get loud. It's salute to those who serve weekend. Cheer on. You guys know that I am a big fan of the salute to those who serve halftime show. I believe it's the 2022 or 2023 halftime show that is up on the YouTube page. Check that out. You can also check out other people's videos for it throughout the year. Again, it's pretty much the same every year, but it is still amazing to watch. So with that said, everyone, thank you all for listening. And as always, go Gators.